talked a lot recently about that clutter from the outside, from the media, whoever that may be. How's your team though handling that? Are they doing well?
Good, but you know, you expect it. I mean, I know what is coming down the pike, and I'm fine with it. Everybody thought, well, watch, he won't do it in the second half. I platoon in the second half the same way. If Carl didn't get in foul trouble, we went straight by the line. Now, if someone goes in there and they're not playing, like they're not going, you're out. You just lose your minutes. So, but look, I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying it because I know no kids getting left behind. And I know the easiest thing for me to do is play 7 guys.
A year ago, you go into the game with Michigan State with all the freshmen. Are you more confident this year because you do have guys who've been through it?
No, because they're playing exactly like Michigan State. They're denying wings, they're pressuring the ball, they're trying to steal passes, they're trapping pick and rolls, and they're going nutty. And we could start out 10-0 the same way. And it wasn't 10-0 we were up. It was 10-0 we didn't. I had to call 2 timeouts to get the thing settled down. But, you know, I would hope that these veterans understand what they're walking into. But, look, teams are going to play like their life depends on it. And then we got to do the same.
Cal, is a little random and way down the road, but Louisville was awarded a 2016 NCAA regional. You guys have opened up some runs inside the state. Do you like having the chance to play those games, you know, in your own state and get going that way?
It was when we played it in 2012. It was great. I mean, it's good for our state. It's good for a city that drives the state, Louisville. It's good for all the fans that love basketball in the state. So it's a good thing. Our team played well in that building.
What do you want to see from your guys at Kansas, just on the court? What do you want to see that them improve on?
Just that we sustain energy, that we follow schemes, that we're really executing together more defensively than offensively. And then we're a little more specific offensively. Because here's what's happened. We're like this, so we're disconnected. We're going to narrow it a little bit so that they're more connected, so they understand a little bit better. You know, so you'll know when a guy's stepping away from what we need him to do. Doesn't mean I don't want him to have freedom to play, but I want him to know, you know, like we didn't run enough stuff when we could have. We just kept trying to go. It's not there. There's 5 guys back there. When we did run our stuff on either group, we were good. We got the ball wherever we wanted it. We scored. We got great shots. We got fouled. We were in great position to offensive rebound. When we didn't and just shot quick, contested, they had 3 guys around the goal, or drive into 5 guys, we charged. We didn't look the same.
When you say narrow, do you mean more control?
No, just to give them more specifics what they're looking for.
Have you heard from other coaches much one way or the other about what you're trying to do with the platoon?
Yeah, I talked to guys today. They're all saying the same thing. One guy said, I'm playing 10. They're not saying I'm platooning. Why do you get all the credit, he said. And, you know, he's a coach from one of the better leagues. And he said, look, the bottom line is they're asking me about my rotation. He said the kids decide that. They do. I mean, they'll decide as this season goes on. We don't even know if this is how we're going to defend at the end of the year. I don't know if this is the best way for us offensively to play it. We don't. Is this the best way for us to prep? We have so many questions to answer. What we're doing here is just, it's unique in that we got a new team every year. Like, you could say what you want. This is a totally different team than last year's team, even though we have some guys back. So it's now, okay, what does this team need? What do they need from me? How do we need to play? What gives them the best chance? And by the end of the year, hopefully those questions are answered, and it's not as late as last year. Last year was what? March 1st we answered questions? It took that long. There were 5 freshmen. Oh, but they're really good. You just roll out the balls. They should just win. Stuff's hard, man. This stuff is hard. Now, I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want it any other way for our kids. It'd be easier for me to have the same team back 4 years and see you guys, great, thank you for all those wins and sold out buildings and you're the best. Now get out, beat it. I mean, that's not how we do it here. And so.
My wife said.
Your wife? She talks to you?
Things you learn.
She's
said on your post-game show last night, you tried to help the fans with perspective about don't get too carried away with, thinking each game's going to be a 50-point win and so on. How much of that do you feel like you need to do maybe to keep it off the players?
Well, anything that I'm saying out there, if you've known me, is trying to protect these kids against all the stuff that could run. The greatest thing about the social media that we have is I can cut stuff off in the bud. Someone wants to make a statement, if we need to respond, we can do it in 12 seconds. It doesn't run for 3 days. In the case of knowing that Andrew didn't have one of his better games, knowing Tyler had one of his better games, I knew where the dialogue would go. So I shut it down. Knowing that Carl barely could play in the game, and Dakari was a double-double, I knew where the dialogue was going. Wait a minute. I knew how well Trey played and how much struggled, and I knew where the dialogue, stop it. The next game, and then I put it back on me, which was, what do you want to change coaches every time we play Portland? And I was off the top of my head, just so you know. So when I was going through the line of coaches, I could say, when I got to Coach Hall, I went back the other way. Then you start, I'm thinking on my feet, so there was no...
But John, considering you're doing something unique and so forth, didn't you expect there to be
I should have thrown Coach Hall under the bus, because I'd like for him to get booed.
since you're doing something unique and
Since
different,
he jumped off the bandwagon last year. Go ahead.
didn't you expect there to be a lot of clutter, a lot of talk about it?
And it's us, and it's me. It's Kentucky. And you know.
Has there been more than you expected?
I'm the one to speak my mind, so they're not,
Has there been more than you expected?
No. But it's going to get worse. People are waiting. You got people right now on radio silence because there's not enough to write that story. The problem is they've written those stories and gotten burned because we turn it around and they look like fools. So there's radio silence right now because they're not going to do it yet. And even after this game, there'll be a couple that just can't help themselves. I got them! And they'll write something like, what did you do? Why? I mean, that's just how it is here.
John,
Sometimes it wakes me up in the morning, makes me laugh.
John, why are you playing it in the arena rather than the dome?
I don't know.
setting
You'd
for
have
the
to.
Final Four?
I know. I would have liked to have been in the dome, but I have no idea.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bill.